we post-truth on, like, whether he got a red card or not? Can anybody verify this? Like, this has been the most AI-ified World Cup. I got Angel Di Maria saying that Argentina threw the game. I'm like, well, that's just ChatGPT. I don't fucking know anymore.
The sizzling sausage. Studs on cement. Sport in the crisp wintry air. When the drawbridge goes up, see the absolute state of it. You're with Pez and Higgos, it's the circus.
Rugby League brawls, Caro dropping bombs, Argentina fights and Tour de France drug test. What a weekend sport. Bryson DeChambeau gets tongues and whippersnippers wagging as he melts down at the Open before Anzac Ryan Fox takes a claret jug in his carry-on luggage back home to the land of the long white cloud. There's also Ken Inkley to Tassie, and let the girls play the SCG for God's sake. Jack Snape from The Guardian is on the show to get the final word in on the World Cup and the prospects of gold on the track for Australia for the next decade. What's getting you hot, boys, actually, and everything else we want to tangent to. Welcome back to the circus. Pezza, how the bloody hell are you? And also, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Squire, Scion, etc. Yes, I'm well, thanks. I missed the World Cup. It has been a wonderful thing. But it's jarring once it finishes. I, like so many people, I woke up at 5 a.m. Eastern time to watch the game, to take in the game. I do reference this later in the show with Jack, but, boring cunts versus dirty cunts. And there goes the monetization for this show. And, and then I got in the car to go to work and I thought I'd turn on SEN and I heard an editorial about how great it was that Dons won. And we're back. We're back.
Right.
We do have a big hour with Jack talking about the World Cup, just getting into the business, the finance, the politics, the Socceroos, the landscape, and it's good. But I'm afraid to say it is just time for our sad little corner of the world provincial codes, and I will be here for it because I have to be. What do the punters say?
What's getting me hot? The fact that Hitler potentially flee to Argentina, Thomas Tuchel being German, and that abysmal managerial decision he made in about the 70th minute last week. Look, I'm not saying they're linked, but...
What's getting me hot is Shakira during the halftime show of the World Cup final. Waka waka indeed.
Boys, what's getting me hot? I show speed at the World Cup final. Who the fuck's Jamal Lamine?
In the aftermath of the World Cup final, some of the Argentine players resorted to actions more at home in the boxing ring than the football pitch. For more insight, here's 1952 boxing gym owner Milo Kerrigan. Punched him in the head!
What's getting me hot, boys, is the fact that after just over 3 years of trying, my son has finally said, "Go Bombers," up the fucking plains.
You know what's getting me hot? The Crows beating Sydney at the SCG, which of course means we're back. The pride of South Australia is back.
That's Trent.
Timmer Hardwick, your coach of the year, and Mum, please let me out of the basement.
So after a couple of wins in about 4 months, the Dragons have seen enough and decided to extend Dean Young for another 2 years. They are the worst club ever to do it. But on the bright side, I'll be 2 years closer to the sweet release of death by the time he gets the sack.
Get on the plane because Kenny's flying it down to Tassie. Kenoth, Devils, 28, grand final.
Oh, hey,
bravo, Chuck.
Shout out to Chuck who took the reins on what the punters were saying this week. Those touches were very, very nice.
Have you put a bit of reverb on the people saying what's getting you hot?
I have.
Even from the chairman.
See, that is the little touches, Chuck.
Yeah.
Live for the little touches.
Yeah, there was one so outrageous I couldn't put it in, but every single other one got selected, so you can only imagine what that was.
Chuck it on Patreon.
Yeah.
Well, given that started with Hitler allegedly fled to Argentina, it must have been quite bad. Let's talk about the World Cup and farewell it. Well, to be fair, I'm sad. I'm sad it's gone. I regret not watching every single game, including the ones that were on at 3 o'clock. I know many people feel that as well. I've enjoyed people hypothesizing about the singleness of Lamine Yamal's girlfriend a couple of weeks ago. I've been enjoying that on Twitter. I have enjoyed the various different angles of the scuffle, the fight, the brawl. Afterwards, I've been enjoying seeing the millionaires and the billionaires enjoying their box seats at the New Jersey Stadium there. But ultimately, I am actually sad that I won't get to watch Messi play anymore. I enjoyed the semi-final so much. He's just a fucking genius. And how shit the final was, I'll forget about that. The best team won, football won, etc. Spain the best team. That's great. It's a great win for Cabo Verde as well. You got to say that.
Oh yeah, wonderful tournament.
But those are just some of my thoughts about the tournament that was. And also I show Speed wearing different jerseys and stuff and getting his reactions to things. I'm 40.
Yeah. Speed pre-match, goated, and halftime entertainment. I think Lars Sivertson wrote that's the longest stretch of uninterrupted football we've had the entire tournament at 27 minutes. Just couldn't get Trump off the stage as well.
Yeah, that was good.
Carry on, unbelievable. And he was really advancing those mitts during the handshakes as well. I was just wondering if anyone might skip that part, but the mitt was just in the way. I agree. Fantastic World Cup. Glad that it happened. Glad the Messi thing happened as well. Sadness and the contrast of, the scarcity and the jeopardy of a World Cup and the cultures and the fact that teams don't play, totally to a fine tooth comb strategy style football. It's just, there's a lot of vibes, a lot of emotion. Argentina brought that as the villains in the final, amazingly.
Bad guys.
And but every country does in their own way, and that was awesome. And it needs to be every year. It needs to be every 4 years. It doesn't need to be every year. That will happen, I'm sure.
It will happen.
No, it needs to be every 4 years so you can have the scarcity. You need the break to have that value and to appreciate it. But this is 2026, and because of our phones and shit, we're used to getting whatever the fuck we want now. So I did see an AI rendition of Pele's famously unrecorded goal. And maybe throw up a little bit. Great rendition of it, by the way, like rendering of it. I thought it was awesome. And fair fucks to Spain, played the best football, easy, and rendered Argentina disgraceful. Really,
I had a tough week this weekend because all of the teams that I wanted to win lost.
You'll be right.
England turned it on in the third place playoff, or did they? Or did I watch the game and see every single France player walking in the first half? Was there that?
Do you want to win that game?
You get a medal, something.
I didn't like the referring to it as a bronze medal match. I don't like. I know it happens. I don't like it. Yeah. They're getting medals. Appreciate it. I don't like it. And I was a little disappointed, I have to say. Not that I want to be a commentator bashing stuff, because Peter Drury's great, but he said Lamal about 10 times. That's just dyslexic stuff. So that's on me being annoyed by that. But I think you want to lose that game to demonstrate how upset you are at having not made the final. You know what I mean? Plus Mbappe gets a couple of goals and, play on. So had a laugh in the tunnel. So
I guess so.
Great. It was just a great thing, which is put on by criminals. So
that's actually part of why I enjoyed it so much. And I'm looking forward to the game being divided into 8s in 4 years' time instead of quarters. I think more of those breaks for me. Chuck, do you want to get the final word on the World Cup that was before we don't talk about it for 4 years?
That's tough. No, I've enjoyed all the Spanish celebrations. You see videos of them drinking white wine out of a glass, which I don't think is a wine glass has never entered a dressing room in Australian sport. I don't think.
Stuart McGill used to drink his wine.
Right. Well, forgive me.
Touche. Yeah. Didn't think McGiller would get a start in the World Cup chat, but you know what I mean?
I don't know what else was in the dressing room.
Yeah, exactly.
It saves an email from him, so that's good.
That's wine glasses in the sheds. I do feel like Spain has been kind of forgotten through Argentina's behaviour, but that's nice. Yeah, and that makes sense. That's civility.
How much of a cunt do you have to be the bad guys when Messi plays for you? How much goodwill Messi gives you as a team?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucking dreadful game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was a tough watch.
Yeah.
It was a tough watch.
Vale World Cup 2026. We'll see you in the US in about 12 years.
Now
apparently.
let's talk about the stuff that that now everyone in Australia cares about, and I want to start with the Rugby League. And a headline that caught my eye, Pezza. Now I want to talk about New South Wales Rugby League, and I'm not talking about Laurie Daly's charges. I want to talk about a Sydney club handed a team-wide ban for brawling.
Okay.
This is in Sutherland Shires. This is De La Salle, has become one of the first local footy clubs to be handed a team-wide ban under the New South Wales Rugby League's recent crackdown on brawls and fighting. The De La Salle men's open age team has been hit with a one-game suspension, effectively forfeiting their next match after an on-field incident in a clash against Yarrawarra Tigers in late June. Now, Chad Townsend, former league player, of course, is the current Tigers skipper. He has been documenting his journey through the NSWRL's competition. And on his YouTube channel, he said of the incident, "You're joking, fuck me dead." Now,
in what respect?
Like he just couldn't believe that they've copped a team-wide ban.
Okay, right.
So, I think over the years, we've enjoyed seeing the highlights of all-in brawls, but fans, families getting involved, spectators, let alone the teams, on the officials as well. We always enjoy these sort of one or two clips we get per year. But in a practical sense, the league has wanted to stamp that out and for people to be safe when they play their community sport on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
They
got to be careful.
Which is in some ways disappointing. But this incident in particular is strange. Now this has gone right around all the establishment media. I saw representatives of both these clubs on the Today Show, for instance, speaking about this. So there's an incident in a play the ball situation where there's a coming together of players. Then all teams come in. There's some pushing and shoving. It's really not that bad compared to what you do get in terms of vision that you get sort of a couple of times a year, right? But that want to make the point, make the case for this to be stomped out and team wide ban.
Oh.
Which I think is harsh.
Well, may as well play touch footy and put some skirts on. Give him a skirt.
Exactly.
Just want to see what that felt like.
Have you ever been involved in any sort of community sport where it's got
tasty?
Yeah, when it got tasty, yeah.
Oh, I wish I could say I did, but I played rugby union for a week choir school. So
happened to me in a soccer game once when it was all in, and the game was called off.
It got a bit tasty.
That was upsetting because you just want to play your sport at 3:00 on a Saturday arvo. Perfect time to be playing your sport in the middle of winter. Chuck played a game on Friday night the other night.
Nah, it's no good.
Can't be having that.
Look, I like the novelty of playing under lights. Don't get me wrong, and many people will. But I was in Sydney over the weekend. Had the fortune of being over there quickly, and because we've discussed the Saturday afternoon light in Sydney, and I actually took a photo of it to send to you, and I thought I'm not doing that. but it's a beautiful time to play, and it's a beautiful time for a fight if there's going to be one.
Yeah, throwing hands.
Yeah.
Chuck, I reckon you would have been involved in a couple of scuffles.
No, I missed a good one a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. We had a triple header at home, I think, in soccer, and one of the guys on our team in the thirds, he got sent off for I suspect a very bad tackle, and then picked up one of the chairs we had on the sideline, like a metal school chair sort of thing, and threw it at the opposition bench.
A metal chair?
Yeah, like one of, the school chairs is like plastic.
Oh,
you
yeah.
sit on plastic and they got the metal. Yeah,
yes,
that exact thing. Yeah. I think he yelled some abusive things to some of the women that were involved in our club at the time, and then threw a chair at the opposition bench. And that was the last time he played for us, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah. Because he was quite a good player.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
No,
anyway,
that's you for rugby league?
Yeah.
Okay. Loz has endorsed Joey for the job. Don't know if you saw that. Now, Loz hasn't quit the job yet, but he's endorsed Joey. But we're still not sure what Loz wants to do. Now, that's the mastermind that he's become.
Yeah, because Joey wasn't too confident, and Laurie was sort of talking him around, being like, "Well, you're selling yourself short there, Joey."
Yeah. Now, importantly, Gus has endorsed Joey. Right.
Whoa,
now,
okay.
Gus has said he should probably do it because he's going to get to some stage in his life where he's going to wish he did. Could he do it? Yes, he could. Should he do it? Well, he probably should because he's going to get to 60 or 70 years of age and probably regret that he didn't do so. So why not live your life and go and do it? He would galvanise all the eras of Origin. He's one of the greatest New South Wales have ever produced. You know he's got a passion for it and loves it so much, maybe it's an itch he has to scratch. He'll get to a point where he can't do it in 20 years' time and he'll regret it. Do it. Why not? Now, Joey said, I haven't got the personality to do it and I've got no experience. So it seems like the chickens are coming home to roost on Joey for Origin, despite Joey saying what he's saying. Joey has made so many cries for help that he's almost saying, please don't make me do this for my mental health. Yeah. And we're all sitting there going like, it'd be good copy though.
Joey.
And just like, let's see what he does next. And then you got the Matty John stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So
it doesn't strike me like Andrew Johns is the kind of guy who's being coy about it, being like, "Hey guys, can you just boost me up a little bit, and then maybe I'll do it."
That could be the 4DF, just like more of a come and get me, please. Like, man, Trods, double the offer, championship.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Right now, I don't have the personality, but I could have the personality at the right price.
Yes, he does, but that doesn't strike me as true. That could be true. It doesn't strike me as what he's been saying is, please don't ask me to do this. And everyone's like, you will regret this if you don't do it.
Mate. I'm sorry, mate, but we kind of need it. We're a bit bored, to be honest. We just want to see what it looks like.
Including the current coach, who was a hell of a player.
Yeah, well, I like Gus's idea there. He's one of the greatest New South Wales have ever produced. Well, that's a good point. Well, they need someone to just keep it warm for a year because Ivan's basically said he's doing it. So he's ready to rock in 28.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that New South Wales have celebrated this victory as much as one should? Because it is about as against the odds as, we were saying this last week, about as against the odds as I can remember going to Queensland, having been dominated more or less in the first two games, sending off MCG, etc. That it feels like it's kind of, maybe it's been swept up in my mind about the World Cup and stuff, where everything feels to have been swallowed by, the Socceroos, and if you like that sport, then the rest of the tournament as well.
No, I think it's been perfectly celebrated. It's been celebrated in true New South Wales style, doing something deeply historic and being like, okay, well, so what's going on with Benji? Dean Ritchie got the scoop?
With a partridge shrug.
Yeah, exactly. Just like, okay, and what's Gus saying about Joey? What about next year? You know what I mean?
Maybe it's just because
Galvin,
the receiving of the crowing from the opposition is worse than how you feel about your own team succeeding. So had Queensland had the exact same circumstances, had they won at Allianz, for instance.
People in New South Wales, especially Sydney, they're busy. Okay, like you win Origin on the Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Fitzsimons puts an article out Thursday, maybe Saturday. You read it, and then you get on with mortgage stress. Who's up for sale this week? Well, how many did they clear?
Yeah. What's the clearance rate?
What's the clearance rate?
Whereas in Queensland, they're all unemployed. That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. But Billy Slater was on my flight home I don't want to give too much away, obviously, but he doesn't have AirPods. He uses the wire ones. So make of that what you will.
So part of the bonus, had he won Origin, part of the bonus would have been AirPods.
It's a hell of a rugby league segment this week, I got to say. Have you got De La Salle in a brawl? Loz says Joey should do it. Billy's got wires. Has got wires on the
I think we have been let down by the home codes during this World Cup, where the attention.
I thought they'd bring out their best stuff.
The attention has been given to the football.
They got mogged. Our little provincial codes have been mogged by the men's FIFA World Cup, and I was surprised to see that.
Billy Slater was talking on one of the shows where he speaks, and he was talking about the prospects of the Broncos making the 8.
Yes,
and I mentioned this to you the other day, but he did make a good point where he said that the teams that they've got coming up in their last 5 or 6 games, they're either above them in the table, already in the top 8, or they're beneath them, trying to get into the top 8. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, that is interesting. Shall we get into the AFL? Because I've just got something here. This is because because we're talking about the World Cup final. Chuck, I've just got this is the way Melbourne covered the sports news one day after the World Cup final, won by Spain. Sydney Age. So there's Ken and there's Vinny Regari just down the right. Yeah, Spain is suffering the right. I'll tell you what, that's where we're at. We're back.
Fucking
That's the
oath we
main
are.
thing.
So Ken Hinkley is to Tassie. The main story that I've enjoyed this week is that Caro actually predicted this on Agenda Setters back in May, where she was pressed on who she thought was the most likely to get the job when it was announced, and she didn't want to really commit to. So she said, "Well, if I had to say right now, I'd say Ken Hinkley."
Yeah.
Lo and behold, why is she copping pelters? From the is it because she's a woman? That's been the conversation. So well done, Caro, on predicting Ken Hinkley to Tassie, and I'll be excited.
Oh well, I mean, look, the thing Ken's a good football man.
They need a football.
Studs
man
in the
club.
ground. He's a good football man, Ken. And there's some good grainy footage knocking around of Ken pumping up his charges in some game. But he's like, I think it's important to note his pump up / spray style. Because he's got the right amount of anger and edge to his voice. There's just a little bit of policeman, there's a little bit of criminal, there's a little bit of dad's angry about it. And it's exactly what you want. Is what you want, the amalgam of those three. And I think there's such an important theatrical tradition to the Aussie rules coach, to the footy coach, and their ability to get the charges together on field with that kind of the crescendo they produce when they're trying to inspire the troops. Even get to the point where when you look at this grainy footage that I will not queue up, I refuse to for rights reasons, that like even the players know when to chime in. Have you noticed this?
Oh, okay.
The players know the point at which the intensity reaches a checkpoint where then the player starts to become hype man.
Yeah, got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the player goes, yeah, right, in the way that, say, Chuck D or Flavor Flav did, Public Enemy, where the hype man tradition in US rap hip hop was established, or around about that time.
Yeah, sure. Boys actually
on the history of hip hop rap. Chuck D, Flavor Flav. Don't be sleeping on the influence of these clips though, because Ken's beating out Horse and Bucks.
Yeah. Well, Nathan Buckley was very vocal in his disappointment. He said he wanted the job. He said that when he commits to something, he goes all in.
Yes.
He said part of the reason he went to Geelong was
Yes.
in part of the application to make it in Tassie. And he's disappointed. He's disappointed. So what that means now is as well, because Nathan Buckley was a beautiful footballer,
wasn't he?
He was a beautiful footballer,
wasn't he?
It was a beautiful kick. What it means is that Ken Hinkley
He was a hard man, Nathan Buckley.
He was a hard man.
Yeah.
But Ken Hinkley now under pressure, because if he doesn't win his first handful of games, I'll tell you, he was a good footballer, Nathan Buckley. Could he get a tune out of these new charges?
They asked Ken about Tassie's flag chances, and he said, "Don't be surprised. We'll come pretty quick and we'll come really hard." Now,
relatable.
I also, I just wanted to address Horse missing out.
Mm-hmm.
Horse once again looking for that Diver Dan outpost bunts.
Yeah.
I just don't know how. I mean, there's no. Once again, yeah. He just made such a fist of being in Sydney, running away from whatever he was running away from. Diver Dan styles, at least in AFL terms, Sydney may as well be,
that's
living
right.
in Barwon Heads or wherever the fuck
Australia,
what the character name of that show was.
He was looking for a sea change in North Bondi.
Exactly. And I thought I just thought Horse was such a compelling prospect, with due respect to Ken and Bucks.
Fuck, he looked good in the red polo. Horse.
But I would have been afraid of Horse being in charge of A team that will be led by Alex Pearce, that's established, and you only have to go back to the last episode, his appearance on the circus last year. Anything you hear from here on in AFL media about Alex Pearce's links to this team is going to be a year and a half late, okay? We've already had the interview with him, and we'll have another one if we need, okay, just to re-establish this. Don't know if he'll be as forthcoming ahead of them winning the comp, but...
The interview will be released on the eve of the grand final. Where it'll be announced that he'll be leaving for Tasmania.
Now, he never said on our show that he'll be leaving.
He didn't need to.
What did he say, Chuck, again?
I think he said, I just spent the last 10 minutes talking about how much I love Tasmania, but I'd hate to play for them.
Exactly.
And he was dressed as an apple.
Like
he actually, yeah, so Moose rules out Tassie. But I'm just saying, if you had a horse and a moose together, that is a combination.
Just remind me of that video of that guy in Yellowstone getting flipped in the air by a bison.
A bison, yeah.
Fuck, those things are massive.
They weren't even really out of line, those people as well. They should have been in a car, I suppose. But
I think the rule is you have to be 25 metres away. I saw him he was on the news last night.
That bison was massive.
Fuck.
How big's their head?
Yeah.
Ken, one of the things that sticks in, who was saying this? It must have been one of the execs at Devils. One of the things that sticks in my mind from Ken's presentation was the 3 C's on the front page of each presentation we had: character, career, and connection. So now, out of Ken, horse, and bucks,
yeah, I think
Ken's
Bucks
come up trumped in Triple C matters.
I think Bucks went for the 4 Ps.
The first mistake. Mick Mulhouse, he goes. He's been in court.
Back in the courts.
Yeah. And as the tweet goes, Mick's just explaining why he basically smashed everybody that came in. The defense has argued that Mulhouse was the aggressor in his own house, defending his wife and being stabbed in the sternum
with a screwdriver.
He went too hard on the poor young larrikins. But glad that Mick was safe and family was safe.
Yeah.
Apart from the stabbing, but
yes, the defense said to Mr. Mulhouse, he said that the young men that were in his house were denied their liberty after they broke into his house.
Don snap a 12 games losing streak.
Fucking good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
And that's in the family for you as well. You got family.
Good for the fan
connect
base. Yeah, good for the fan base.
Cheers, clips, children crying. I've seen clips of kids crying in the ground, like at the win. That's soldiers returning from war stuff for me. Like maybe not at the same level, but like there's this one clip of a kid and he's actually overcome with emotion at the win with like the fist pumps and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I saw our friends Ben Cameron and Corbin Middlemass discussing that whilst the Plains were having a historically awful time of it, they are not last on the ladder. And in fact, Adam Uze's Tigers are, which goes to show how bad they're going. And they also said on their wonderful show on the ABC that Adam Uze's record of 10 wins from his first 55 games is the worst in the history of the AFL. That's the worst start to a career in the history of the AFL. So the Tigers no good, but the Tigers have had recent premiership success.
Yep.
Bombers,
there's a credit line.
We're getting into decades of hardship here.
Yeah, like
plus some drug stuff.
Exactly. The Tigers are in there's capital afforded to them,
and we all know they'll be good again.
That's right. They're observing the systemic windows that are created for particularly inner suburban Melbourne AFL teams, whereas the Dons are a basket case whose losses reflect poor people and administration for generations.
And there seems to be quite a lot of commentators publicly making statements about it would be a terrible idea to get James Hird, and all the whispers are that, geez, Hird would be good there.
They've got to get him. They actually just have to
scratch the itch.
They just have to, get through it. Like they've got to. They should give it to him while they're still so shit, so they can just move past that and then start building in a way that smart people would, and get some money out of it.
Now, the AFLW's Ireland and Australia match, or indeed Australia-Ireland match, is still going to be played at North Sydney Oval despite a select crowd. People, of course, wanted it to be moved to the SCG. So the capacity, 9,000 tickets, were sold out very quickly, leading to calls for the game to be moved to the SCG, which could accommodate 48,000 fans, which is indeed 39,000 more people that can go to North Sydney Oval. But the AFL has refused to budge and drew the ire of many over the weekend when a graphic was posted to social media with a list of Sydney pubs that will show the game on TV. So
here's where you can watch this.
So 9,000 tickets sold out in a New York minute.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, well, we need to get this venue. We need to get this moved to a bigger venue. SCG down the road. It's available. And the AFL have responded via Laura Kane, saying that, well, I'll tell you where you can watch it. Here's a couple of pubs. Ask them to change a channel. That'll take a few minutes, obviously. No one knows where the remotes are, which remote works for which television. But that's just the process you have to go through. So now here is an idea.
Would that be a contract thing? North Sydney Council, might just be holding them to, a contract.
I have absolutely zero idea how events work. I've never held an event, nor do I seek to.
My uncle just called someone to get us on for JT's kicking masterclass.
So it's not that hard.
Well,
it
requires requires networking.
So 9,000 tickets are sold to North Sydney Oval, right? And to tell those 9,000 people that the game is now at the SCG, would you lose a little bit in translation there? Like, would you be able to contact 9,000 people to get them to move to the SCG? Do people want to go to the SCG? I'm just guessing why they've decided not to move this game. Also, I do think there is something in seeing 9,000 people packed into North Sydney Oval, the imagery of that compared to, let's say they sold double the tickets. Let's say they sold 25,000. Now, 25,000 people is a great number of people to go to the SCG, don't get me wrong, but it won't look as full. And I think there is saleability in seeing smaller grounds absolutely packed to the rafters. We said this with Rugby League as well.
Yes.
Leichhardt Oval, Brookvale, for instance. Yeah. I know that like the idea of growing the game is the most important thing. Of course I understand that. I'm just saying like it does look fucking good on TV when it is packed to the rafters and it shows consumer confidence in the product as opposed to a more sparse stadium.
Yeah,
so maybe I'm missing the point.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, like you can completely understand the frustrations of people who are trying to advance women's sport in so many ways, creatively, commercially, inspiration, eyeballs, attention, like giving children core memories, that connect you so that you stick with it for a long time. And when it sells out so quickly and you have a bigger stadium available that is more iconic, realistically, happy to discuss, but it is. I can totally understand those frustrations. And I think that people are entirely valid to call it out. I don't know about the vagaries of how you shift things once they are locked in or once contracts are signed, etc. I mean, people can make anything happen, though. You know what I mean? You can change things. You pay or whatever. So, it's a shame. It sounds like it was a misjudgment. They've just misjudged.
Yeah.
They have just straight out misjudged the appeal of this game for people, and I don't know what and this is how they've tried to appease people, and it's not been done well. Now, the ground record at North Sydney Oval is 23,000, by the way. But I did go the other day, and I was like, "What? Why do they only why is it only 9,000 now?" I was with another journal, and they're like, "OH&S basically, just completely unsafe to have people here now."
23,000.
Yeah, North versus Manly 94.
Holy shit!
Manly won. Yeah.
Must have been people on the roof.
I do think they had people sitting on the field, possibly, but yeah, they used to get like 15,000, 16,000 to the big games there, kind of like Leichhardt, and but I think now, it's a heritage ground. I think its infrastructure is probably shakier, and I think laws around things are tighter for people's safety. So, yeah,
which is ultimately Well, it can be a good thing. Not for me to say. People's safety.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here just two guys on the podcast and on a male podcast and go like, just cram them in, see what happens.
One thing that probably is good is that now that the AFL have learnt that they've made a huge mistake in not moving it to or not originally placing it at a bigger venue, which was available. Well, the Swans weren't there anyway. Is that if they want to do this next year, which I presume they will, that the scarcity of tickets this year should breed a higher demand next year. And so, I suppose there could be that. Anyway, I want to talk about Ryan Fox winning the Open. Yep. Australia's Ryan Fox.
Up the Anzacs.
Up the Anzacs. Part of the Anzac spirit. His dad played for the All Blacks, Grant Fox, of course, and his granddad played cricket for New Zealand. So does this win count when it's basically you've just won the genetic lottery? You know, that's what I'm sort of getting at. Like, does it really?
His last name Fox as well. Is there anything else you need? I guess it'd be a hog.
He didn't start playing golf until he was 17,
of course. Not. Yeah, of course not.
Yeah. So
mucking around with a couple other sports and stuff.
Yeah, so dad All Blacks, granddad
he was too busy.
Granddad a black cap, and picked up golf at 17. Yeah, okay, I'll get in the PGA Tour. That's not that hard. Won his first PGA event last year at the age of 38, and now he's a major winner, winning the last major of the season. So
Grant Fox had a beautiful leg swing as a goal kicker too. I can see how it crosses over.
Grant Fox is a great New Zealand name.
Oh,
it's a great.
What a kicker. Honestly, Godfather. Godfather goal kicker, Grant Fox. Oh, but let's talk about his progeny, Ryan, winning the British Open.
Yeah, that's right. So,
and what a way of doing it too.
Yeah, so birdied 18. And one of the things that people have picked up is the pace of play. Like his pace.
Birdied 18 to stave off the player fry. Like he's drained a 12-foot putt.
That's right, yeah.
He drained a 12-footer.
Yeah. Oh. And went to his playing partner, which was Sam Burns, who finished one shot behind.
Said, suck shit.
And he said, suck shit. And then he put him in a sleeper hold.
Yeah. He actually did the Paredes thing.
No, he went to his playing partner first, shook his hand, and then celebrated. So we're looking at some more Kiwi stuff here, you know, like how nice these guys have to be. Where's the mongrel? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It must lie deep within. I don't think it's dormant. I'm just... You know, geez, they show us up. We've made it very clear what they are and who they are, and where there's a lot to enjoy and to praise, particularly upon winning a British Open. I would not be touching it with a 40-foot pole behind closed doors. I don't know why I'd have that pole. But. He's also he also took the claret jug, obviously the trophy when you win the Open. He took that in carry-on luggage. And he just had it in the overhead. There's footage of someone filming Ryan Fox on a plane. He was also on that plane was Cameron Young, who bogeyed 18 earlier,
right?
To miss out on a playoff by one stroke.
I wonder who was further up the plane. He's a real winner.
Yeah, that's right. Wouldn't have been economy. I wouldn't have thought. Now, I want to talk about the main talking point though of this major.
Right. Yeah.
The main,
not the winner.
So not the winner because that's not interesting because he wasn't American. So Bryson DeChambeau was awarded a 2-stroke penalty after his second round for improving his lie by improving the path of his backswing.
Yeah.
Now, if you're interested in this, it is all over. It is all over Twitter and different social medias if you care about it. So he was 1 stroke off the lead at the end of the round. Then, of course, awarded a 2-stroke penalty, so he's 3 strokes back. So it was a crucial point in the tournament. He was informed by the rules officials before he signed his card, so it counted. He disputed it, demanded to be taken back to the spot where it happened. Then he told the RNA rules officials that he wouldn't play tomorrow in protest, and then he threatened to call President Trump to have the verdict overturned.
Yeah.
Now, he then posts about it on social media with images of him looking where the incident happened, looking for the ball, and he's levitating above the grass, a bit of social media trolling stuff. Now, this turns into culture wars.
Yep.
The players are all waiting for the verdict to be final to find out their tee times the following day, because obviously when he drops 2 strokes back, then that moves people up, moves people down. Tee times affected. So no one knows what time they're teeing off the following day until this gets sorted out. Bryson then does a range session afterwards, keeping all the staff at the course there until about midnight, I think it was, while this is all getting sorted out. Now, After this, Rory McIlroy, who's this has formed into some sort of rivalry over the last little while, he says this, please, Chuck, to the media.
Bit night for everyone. Look, I won't pretend to be up here and defend Bryson. I'm not particularly fond of him. I think a lot of it's performative. I think a lot of it's for attention. And to hold the tournament hostage like that and have all of us, volunteers, players, everyone waiting on him to depart, I didn't feel like it was a great look. So I was watching it live. I was up in the players' lounge watching it with a few other players, and as soon as he made the step into the ball, we all sort of looked at each other and were like, that didn't seem right. And then when I heard that he was called in by the rules officials, I think it was pretty obvious for why. I think there's no doubt that he improved the line of his backswing. So, and again, it's like whether it was careless or whether it was intentional, I don't think it matters. Hopefully it was careless. But I think the 2-shot penalty was justified for sure.
Now, that's interesting what he says that, because golfers especially, they don't really like to talk about other players, and they certainly like to criticize them. So Bryson is, if nothing else, polarizing. He's a Trump guy. He did a YouTube video with him during the election, which has 17 million views. He's chairman of the President's Council on Sports, Fitness and Nutrition. He's, of course, on the Live Tour. The anti-establishment guys love him, and the YouTube generation. So before he started his YouTube, he was one of the most disliked players on the tour by players and fans. I think that's fair to say. He once said of Augusta, ahead of the Masters, that the Masters was a par 67, which is confident. He had a feud with American compatriot Brooks Koepka, who once said, I can't stand that guy. I think it was around about 2020. Big rivalry with McIlroy, who's been outspoken on being anti almost everything Bryson is. So when joining Live, and in relation to being asked about the Saudi connections to 9/11, Bryson urged families of the victims to, quote, consider a pathway forward to peace and forgiveness, and also that nobody is perfect. There's also been instances when he's got particularly angry with staff on the course, but the thing is, to offset that, the YouTube is very good and very enjoyable. He's no doubt an unbelievable player. He has lots of supporters. But this incident, so I can look at the incident with my eyes and I can see what's happened. And unfortunately, he has transgressed the rules. But this is post-truth stuff. Like, this is in lots of ways. This is Trump's America. This is the internet. It's conspiracy. It's USA against the world. It's less about what you see with your eyes and more about how you feel, And he's the center of that attention. And I think for a guy that has longed for love, and maybe not adoration necessarily, but certainly love and acceptance, I think this stuff is as good as being loved. So I'm looking at this incident and he quite obviously steps on the tall grass to improve the path of his backswing, therefore improving his lie. But that doesn't really matter. It's more about the culture wars of this. And it is amazing that a golfer in this day and age, with the explosion of golf in recent times, has become the center of these culture wars in a sport that previously has been about self-policing, being a gentleman, kind to competitors. You see Ryan Fox's example being set throughout the tournament, and it's a hell of a place to be on, especially Twitter with this stuff.
Nice appraisal of this situation. I mean, what is social media or the media at large in 2026 if not a place where you can now commercialize being a coach? Right? Is that not a very core business model of the entire thing? And I note that we have 1 million followers.
Yeah.
But is it having not particularly followed this story, but or Bryson DeChambeau, other than to have a vague idea of what it is and what it is doing and what the product is or whatever, is it not the case that he does something like that, he recognizes that this will be controversial, particularly if he doesn't like it. He's led in his country by a man who exploits these things with a media apparatus that supports it, by and large. And he thinks, well, irrespective of the penalty, that I'm being given. There's money in this. I can make more money out of this. And I know that glibly filters it right down to just, a financial play. But you're talking about all sorts of other things there around just being a coat or not accepting decisions or whatever.
Yeah,
but there is an enormous ecosystem there that will support the amplification of conspiracy or injustice.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder if it's less about the fine. I think he signed for Live for it's in the hundreds of millions.
But it becomes a brand, I suppose is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think with him specifically, I look at him and I like, there's a guy that's just wanted to be loved and he's never got it. And he started a YouTube channel and he's just got all this love and attention. And for the first time in his life, perhaps, especially in his professional career, he's got the fans on his side. Now, a lot of people see him as a fuckwit, but a lot of people are like, well, hang on, that's a bit of a lamestream media perspective, you know what I mean? So,
yes.
And especially like there's been so many new people that have been introduced to golf since COVID, right? And I think that's part of it. But
it's the elites impose this penalty.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Drain the swamp.
So he's farmed this for love and attention. But
Rory McIlroy is establishment presidency.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Rory McIlroy is Clinton. He's the Clintons.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Even though I think he has himself quite a close-ish relationship with Trump.
Well, if you play golf, you probably have to, right?
You probably have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I suppose I feel particularly close to this because I'm in the golf. I'm in golf Twitter.
Yep.
And so I see it, and it's like I can just see what's happened, and like all these people defending it. And I'm like, oh, this isn't about what's actually what you can see with your eye. This is about something else. I find that interesting. Sad and infuriating at the same time, but at least it makes you feel something. Speaking of which, can I talk about Latour?
Please.
Now, Pogacar, which is a name that I learnt last year, he was drug tested at 5 a.m. And there was also, is his name Vingegaard? I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. Cyclists, let me know. And please grow up.
I know the answer. I'm just not saying what it is.
He was drug tested at 2 a.m. Now, this has caused a huge uproar on the cycling circuit. So I'm going to say Vingegaard and Pogacar were subjected to unexpected nocturnal doping controls outside of the normal window of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. before stage 15. Now, Pogacar described Vingegaard's 2 a.m. test as, quote, inhuman and suggested that, quote, it ruined his long-standing rival's deep sleep and could have been a factor in the crash on Sunday in which he broke his collarbone and forced him to quit the tour. So nighttime testing has been introduced primarily to combat the use of micro-dosing of performance-enhancing products, a practice of which allows only a short window of detection. So anyway, Vingegaard's been done at 2 a.m. They've woken him up. Next day, crashes out. Pogacar says, well, hang on a second. Bloke didn't have a wink of sleep. He's trying to catch 40 winks, no chance. The dopers have come in, drug tested him at 2 a.m., broken his sleep. Next day, broke his collarbone. Fair fucks.
The testers have reason to believe that these guys are microdosing.
So that's the thing, Pezza. So like a French judge has granted the doping organization the rights to test outside of the 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. window. But to do so, you need to have, I forget the language, but it's like you need to have information which strongly leads you to believe that someone is doping.
Yes.
And isn't it funny that like I do recall one incident in cycling previously where there was some sort of scandal involving drugs.
Mm-hmm.
That still hangs so heavy over this sport and the tightness of which they're trying to control cheating, I suppose. That like they're testing guys at 2 and 5 in the morning, like champions of the sport. I mean, Pogacar I think is about to win his 5th Tour de France. I think Armstrong won 7, 6, 8. He won a couple. So, Pogacar is, I think...
Leave him alone if you know the actual fucking answer on Boys Actually. That's what I would say.
I think people in the sport think that this Pogacar is the greatest ever. And I guess it seems to me that they're so scared of like another Armstrong thing
Big
happening
Brother.
again.
Just have Big Brother. Just put him on Big Brother. We just 24/7 cams.
Live stream.
Yep.
Tour de France up late. That's just the Tour de France for Australia. Little joke there.
Yes.
Bit of comedy. Not bad. And that's what's happening in Latua. I think we should talk to Jack Snape. A wonderful chat from a wonderful man.
This is a good chat for a walk or a run.
Oh yeah.
Just let it wash.
Yeah.
We traverse.
Sink in. Maybe if you're in some sort of flotation device. Enjoy this for the next hour or so. Here's Jack.
We're sitting with one of the sharpest observers of sport in Australian sports journalism, Jack Snape, sports journalist at The Guardian, former of the Canberra Press Gallery as well. So was there, boots on the ground at the World Cup USA. Also able to write quite, with acuity about business and finances and politics, etc. So you're in the wrong place, I'm sorry to say, but let's pretend. But Jack, welcome to the circus.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Okay. You're back from boots on the ground in the USA. Like let's talk final, your observations of the final. Boring cunts versus dirty cunts. What did you make of it?
I should be totally honest here. I was not in the US for the final. I'd already come home after covering the Socceroos.
Yeah, that's the accuracy you can expect as well.
And it was, extraordinary theatre, not a particularly great football match, I reckon.
Your colleague Jonathan Wilson on Football Weekly described it as a disgusting final.
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually went to see The Odyssey, the film, and
instead,
during the final?
It was I think the day before. And so it was in my mind, and Anne Hathaway's character, I think, was waiting 20 years for Odysseus to return.
No spoilers. Yeah.
And in the final, it felt like we were waiting for Argentina about the similar distance to arrive in the final. But they finally got there after conceding that goal. And, for 2 or 3 minutes, you thought maybe Messi could do it again. But it was not to be for those really strange Argentinian players, right? Like they were like crusaders walking behind Messi out from the tunnel. They seemed to be, having this greater purpose on the football pitch. It didn't matter about the rules of the game, yellow cards, things like that. These men were there to deliver Messi another World Cup. And I went into the match thinking, oh yeah, I'm probably an Argentinian fan in this case. You'd love to see Messi, love to get Messi another World Cup.
Yeah, 72 hours ago, they'd done what many of us wanted them to do against England, and then they're villains.
Yeah, well, exactly. You beat England, and it felt like they just had great momentum coming into the final. But then you just watch that for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, and you can't really support anyone else but Spain. So I think it was the fitting result, but the match was only the start of it, right? The real drama started at the final whistle when the Spanish players ran on, and I think it was Noel Molina, hit Rodri as he's going on to celebrate, the crowning moment in his career. He's got a little gut punch from the
AFL style.
And then it all kicked off. I think we had Leandro Paredes.
Yes.
Go towards Eric Garcia, the Spain defender, with the hand to the throat, which it's one in Australian sport we don't get to see as much, the hand to the throat. And, obviously the palms to the chest, that's just friendly, nose to nose, forehead to forehead, these are just niceties on the football field. Even the punch to the jaw or the headbutt, right?
An honourable way of contacting your opponent.
There's an escalation there, but there's also a degree of cowardice, right? You're there for maximum damage in the shortest possible time.
Yes.
The arm to the throat, though, you are there suffocating this man.
Yes.
You're happy to be there for a time looking into his eyes to watch him die. Yeah. And look, it's one we don't see much in Australian sport. Thankfully, but we did get to see it in the World Cup final.
Oh, flexibility to affect the choke slam as well, which you don't see very often in the Anglosphere.
I personally thought the Spanish player, he felt contact and he went down a little easy for me. That's just the way I saw it. Have I read that Paredes he got red carded after the game? But have I read that he's not going to receive any punishment?
It's been rescinded.
It's been rescinded?
Well, we don't know. I think the broadcast showed up a red card, but now there's been some speculation that maybe it wasn't awarded in the fracas. But
Are we post-truth on like whether he got a red card or not? Can anybody verify this? Like, this has been the most AI-ified World Cup. I got Angel Di Maria saying that Argentina threw the game. I'm like, well, that's just ChatGPT. I don't fucking know anymore.
Well,
Trump's captain of Spain, evidently, as well, with the trophy. I don't know. Are we post-truth on like whether he got a red card or not? Can anybody verify this? Like, this has been the most AI-ified World Cup. I got Angel Di Maria saying that Argentina threw the game. I'm like, well, that's just ChatGPT. I don't fucking know anymore.
He fouls one of the Dutch players and he boots the ball into the Dutch dugout.
Yeah.
And then Van Dijk runs over and like chest bumps him. And so like he's got some form, I'd say.
He had form. He should have been sent off 2 or 3 times in the match by itself. So
Well, someone that did get sent off was Enzo Fernandez. And I enjoyed, Pez and I really enjoyed how much Argentina fucking hate England. Like, we obviously know the history of the Falklands and whatever, but don't know if you saw these quotes, but Fernandez said after the game, he said, "My family and I have a lot of respect for the English, especially my wife. Everyone who cleans and cooks at our house in London is English, and we really love them." So the workers in my home are English, so how can I possibly? I have English friends is the equivalent of that. So I enjoyed the roller coaster of Argentina, I suppose. Like I think a lot of people like the legacy of your LeBrons, your Jordans, your Messis, Ronaldo. People like seeing the legacy champion do it again. So I suppose a lot of us were supporting Argentina in that regard. But and then obviously from an Australian perspective, a lot of people wanted them to beat England. But then it was a tough watch to get behind them. It was a tough watch to get behind them for the rest of the tournament, wasn't it? I guess the next game.
For sure, yeah. It was worked for The Guardian. Obviously, I'm maybe more exposed and tuned with some of the English sensibilities. And after that England-Argentina semi-final, the Guardian UK writers' chat was just quiet for about an hour. It was the most quiet it had been for the 6-week tournament. So, you take a little bit of satisfaction from that as Australian. But yeah, I know that so jarring having to, adjust your mind to, all right, who am I supporting this final? Can I still support Argentina? At what point does it change to, all right, Spain are pretty good, we should just support them?
Yeah.
But then after even the brawls, after the final whistle, then you had that extraordinary, before the press conference, which I'll get to, I think Nicolas Otamendi, after the whistle, went to Rodri and had a go at him, saying you've been crying all week, crying about Argentina apparently getting leniency from the referees, right? This is, in the high point of the World Cup, this great moment in these men's careers, and Otamendi's having a go at his former teammate, Rodri, which I don't think anyone can really respect that approach in that moment. But then half an hour later, Lionel Scaloni, the Argentina coach, his extraordinary press conference afterwards where he's talking about rebuilding the team, and he's so overcome with emotion that he has to end his press conference there. He gets up and walks off in tears.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to talk about crying, I think it's fairly conclusive that Lionel Scaloni is probably the biggest crier in the room.
It's one of the extraordinary and unfamiliar elements of the World Cup that we get this exposure to different cultures, particularly with all the spotlight on it. I mean, very difficult to not be totally seduced by England versus Argentina and the way both of them approach big matches that mean a lot to the people, who shrinks, who rises, and why, and what that says about their history and who they are as people, etc., and lauding Argentina for growing into that game and wanting it more and all those kinds of things. And then we get to the final and Spain play in a way that we're accustomed to, where they were ready for everything. You could see they were ready for Argentina, and they were ready for all of that as well. None of them took the gas on anything Argentina tried to do, as far as I could see, when it came to provoking them or knocking them off their equilibrium. And Argentina seemed to go to somehow a new level of ugliness and shithousery for reasons that difficult to comprehend. I don't know if it's the Western mind can't comprehend the practical or material reasons for doing that. But it does seem to, they show themselves to be a nation, enormously connected to emotion. Emotion matters. They use it. They use that momentum or whatnot. But it seemed to tip over enormously in that final into a scenario where, their reputation was trashed, I think, around how they approach that, particularly when you've got the greatest of all time there as well. And Messi was, slightly part of it as well when it came to Cucurella and trying to get him sent off. And then, the Argentine player who went down injured and Messi was trying to point to the referee when the red was coming and whatever. Are we to stand back and go like, well, now we just know more about Argentina and how they play, or was it an acutely bad performance, in that final?
In a lot of ways, you've got to respect them, right? This is, they're the greatest stage of football, and they are so committed to this style where you had, going into extra time, both goal scorers against England, right? Enzo Fernandez and Lautaro Martinez off the pitch. One was sent off and one wasn't brought on, left on the bench, which is, I suppose, a recognition of their commitment to their plan, but also an acknowledgement that Spain are pretty bloody good. We were talking about strangling before. Spain, like what they did to France in the semi-final, right? They have a way about them that is all about control, not only with the ball, but without being able to win the ball back very high, get it back into control, not be exposed. You saw their keeper, Unai Simon, come out so many times to, even that final early on to take the ball off Messi's feet. And so, I think we can get maybe...
well, Argentina are the main characters, and we're actually allowing them to be by talking about them.
Well, exactly, yeah. And
that'll matter to them too.
It's funny with Spain. I think Spain in 2010, when they won the World Cup with the, tiki-taka, it was like easy to... dismiss it as a bit of a novelty or so boring. It's like the Simpsons episode with the players just passing around the back. But this version of Spain have kind of that at their heart. That's part of their DNA, whatever. But with Lamal, with Nico Williams, who came on and was good. Yeah, added something a bit extra.
Yes.
And I just love Rodri, right? Like just the way he plays. He just kind of saunters about, kind of getting in just all the right space, right time, and just using the ball so incredibly well.
Oh, the neatness is goated. It's Mario Kondo stuff.
So with that ahead of them or with that in front of them, maybe you can have some sympathy for Scaloni's mission to just destroy, neutralize.
Backhanded compliment to Spain?
For sure, both backhanded compliment and they're holding the trophy. So Spain have had a pretty good afternoon.
Just an enormous World Cup for conspiracy theorists. Conspiracies are big right now, because everything's a conspiracy. I think part of, just to speak personally, like watching Messi in the semi-final, he is just an absolute joy to watch, right? And, with how the rest of Argentina played is shithousery and thuggery, but they've got this, it's just joy. It's just absolute pure joy watching Lionel Messi play. But the chat around Argentina was that they were being assisted by FIFA. Like the Egypt game, they're 2 down. I suppose could have been 3 down in that game. I think everyone's happy with how they won in the semi-final, perhaps. But there's been other games, Cabo Verde game as well. They seem to get the rub of the green, I suppose. But the idea that FIFA are coordinating. The Lionel Messi story, I suppose, for eyeballs, for advertising dollars, I suppose, is an appealing one. And I guess at the same time, when Trump is getting involved in, red cards and the rescinding of those red cards, it does sort of feed this idea that the elites are controlling, pulling the strings. But at the same time, I'm just looking at Argentina and I think they just had the best player of the World Cup and indeed the world probably. And they were probably pretty good value. But at the same time, I do like the idea of a conspiracy theory,
Well, that was the big issue with the Fowler and Balogun red card, where as soon as you get any sense of political interference in decision making on field, off field, where his send off was the suspension for that send off was, I think, suspended, which was which was unusual for a number of reasons.
But like a 1 year probation or something on that red card.
So when you start having this interference, the mind wanders, right? Every decision gets second guessed, and you start thinking, oh yeah, it does. It is convenient that Messi has gone through extra time twice, 2 late comebacks, and he's in the final, and he is the most marketable man in the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
But they did beat England in the semi-finals, and I reckon if England had made that World Cup final, it might have eclipsed a Messi final. An England-Spain final would have been an extraordinary commercial outcome. And so I think, whichever way you look at it, you can find a story that compels. But on the refereeing incursions or the referee, as soon as you get outside influences coming in and either correcting decisions or making up for decisions, and this even goes to right through to the VAR when they call the referee over. When they feel like this warrants enough of another look. These are the questions. This is where the mind goes, right? In this room,
how can it not go there?
Is Donald Trump in that room? Is Leo Messi's agent in that room? Send the replay. It's like Dan Andrews on the phone in China.
Pretty sure Peter Vlandis has an earpiece to actually climb.
Exactly. Even like the goal kicks in the corner, sometimes they check, sometimes they didn't.
It's thumb on the scale stuff. It's never full. It's never full preordained. It's just chuck a little thumb on the scale there, see what you can do. I'll give you a thumb.
Well, and this is the issue with the yellow or red card for Paredes in the final. It's like it pops up. How can we even trust the broadcast? Can we even trust our own eyes?
Peter Drury's in it as well.
Why do I only get one replay of the goal that was ruled out? You know what I mean? Like, why don't I get the replays? Why can't I see for myself?
Executive producer, SBS, he's in them as well.
Producer, earpiece, Trump.
And then you're waiting for the grainy social media footage from the back of the stadium to actually see what happened. Oh, wait a sec. No, but no. Paredes didn't start it. That was started by Rodri.
Yes, that's right. I'm waiting to know what the Spaniards were yelling at Molina when he was, when he coat hangered them with the gut punch from Brendan Favola. Brendan Favola influenced gut punch. We don't know yet, but I want to get some audio of this stuff as well.
I should also say though that like the Balogun red card reversal. Just like the unfair treatment of the Iran team, forcing them to fly in and out, like the prevention of or the barring of the Somalian referee, I think it's Omar Artan, to even enter the country, right? These are all obvious wrongs. Like these are things that FIFA or the US government, the hosts, got wrong about the tournament in any sane person's mind. And but they do them so we talk about them, right? It's like they're pushing our buttons, and so we are responding to talk about how Trump might be, he's keeping a Somalian out of the States, or he's treating Iran maybe harshly because of the record of their government, and so they're just using this tournament, as a grandstanding opportunity, as a political opportunity to reinforce their values and. On the Messi side, I don't know whether we can quite expand that philosophy out to the refereeing controversy, but at the end of the day, like the 48-team World Cup, the hydrations break, these are all like talking points, right? And we've been talking about them for the last 6 weeks. And so whether you think the decisions have been made that are right or wrong, we're all transfixed by the World Cup over the last month or two.
32 teams to 48. I think there was a bit of cynicism about it beforehand. People may have softened on that because all the teams that came loved it and put on a pretty good show. How did you see that change, and do you foresee further changes?
It's funny when you get to the stage in your life where you become a traditionalist you're like, oh, World Cup, that's a 32-team tournament. I couldn't imagine a World Cup with any more than 32 teams. It devalues the very act of qualifying for the World Cup.
Yes.
But I don't know, at the end of a 48-team tournament, it was still pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was awesome. Yeah.
I prefer 8-ball overs in cricket.
And rest days. Yeah.
The thing about the 48-team tournament, I think it's got issues for the qualification process, right? If, it's just a...
Not my problem, though.
Well,
I'll just tune out. I'm watching footy.
Yeah, I suppose, but why stop at 48 teams? We're already talking about 64 teams for the next World Cup. But why stop there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is the line?
Well, I think the line is
6 minute abs.
Wherever the clubs, the clubs or the other people who are involved in the calendar will allow FIFA to go. And if FIFA's throwing money around, maybe they can convince them, to expand the window further. But it was, I don't know, it felt like a very long tournament with that extra round, the round of 32. And at the start, there were these games that it felt like didn't really matter, right? You could lose the first game, still get through. And so that sense of jeopardy, maybe was compromised. But the thing about the qualification process and those 8 third-place teams from the 12 groups going through, I was, again, from the traditional perspective, hating that. It's like, this is, you just want simple black and white in your group, either you're in or you're out. But again, all through that group stage, right in that last week, we're Googling, the third place table, where's that up to now? Or who's winning? Who's going to play? Who they got? And so it just kept such a high level of interest, for something, for us was new, that we had to keep an eye on. And I think people broadly were engaged with it more, right? Their country, you look at Scotland, they didn't make it ultimately, but their fans had another 4 days of maybe hope after their final match. But then they stuffed it up with that tiebreakers, right? They did the tiebreakers. Head-to-head before goal difference.
Yeah.
And so, because I was coming to the tournament thinking, the 8 third-place teams will mean there won't be as many dead rubbers in the group stages. But with the tiebreakers, they stuffed it up.
Yeah.
So that'll have to go next World Cup.
Let's talk Socceroos. That's who you were there covering. How do you assess their performance? Everyone's kind of had their say. It occurs to me it's pretty much run along the lines of most of the way Australians assess sporting teams. Once you achieve a certain bar, like they did against Turkey, everything is now assessed against that bar, and they couldn't rise to those heights again. Plus, Turkey looked at little unders after all that. It petered out, and you said that off air. I've stolen that off you, but I also see 7 hours ago that Aaron Kunda's signed with Sporting, so he's going to be the most expensive player ever for an Aussie without inflation adjustment, according to Daniel Garb, and they've won the last 3 titles in Portugal, and he'll play Champions League. A lot of green shoots for the Socceroos. Your thoughts?
Definitely green shoots. Huge missed opportunity. Egypt, they're, extra time. We just didn't have any other cards to play, particularly with Geordie Boss going off injured. That was a killer. Penalty shootout, 50-50, I don't really...
Was there a better way of taking that opportunity for Australia, or did their lack of depth mean they were found out ultimately?
You're talking Harry Suter and Lucas Harrington stepping up to the they should have made the end slightly lower.
I'm not so off the penalty taker chat, to be honest.
So I definitely think that
also Jedinak was in charge. I want to ask you about that as well. So of the penalty stuff,
the Socceroos were obviously short with options going forward, right? Mo Toure, clearly his body wasn't right, and he couldn't win the trust of Popovic for whatever reason. And and without that, there was so much effort put into the system and playing, a very rigid structure, which I think is terrific. We should have a good defence for Australia, and they should go home, relatively satisfied. But these wonderful moments where it's like, just what if that had been a bit different in that Egypt game? it just, you're in the US for a month, and after such a high against Turkey, as an Australian journalist, and I can only imagine what fans are going through who've paid $20,000 or $30,000 to follow the team around. They've spent so much emotion, money, time following this team, and for them just not to really, fire a shot in that, the last kind of half an hour-ish of that match. It was disappointing, wasn't it? Just needs, a few more great players to come through, and maybe, Tony Popovic, maybe to build on this experience and realise, it'd be great to get a couple of other different options, changing his approach or, making the most of. They had a bunch of wingers in the squad, and different players like Rustic, who's maybe more a playmaker. Volpato was obviously very effective in a different role, maybe more effective inside. And so just, I don't know whether you save some cards for the extra time period against Egypt or not. I think these are the wonderful things that we can be poring over for the next 4 years, 40 years. Hopefully we actually win a knockout match before then.
Almost every manager is hated by the end of the World Cup. I mean, Ancelotti for Brazil was memified the entire thing. Tuchel obviously burnt at the stake. South Korean coaches in jail. Yep. Nagelsmann for Germany was sacked. Steve Clarke was sacked for Scotland, as were many others. The Tunisia coach was sacked after one game. Is Tony Popovic lucky to be alive in that context?
It's extraordinary, the turnaround. From the Messiah who turned this qualification shambles around, and to that Turkey win. It was to be So I suppose questioned, right? This guy's been a manager for 15 years, and we've got morons like us second guessing the decisions he's making. You can kind of see why Ange Postecoglou might have been tempted to step away from his role in Australian football.
Right.
But Popovic, look, he's a decent, generally conservative coach. Like he did pretty well. The players did pretty well. Australian football doesn't have heaps of money, doesn't have a huge playing stock. So we can always have ambition. What the best pathway forward? The Dutch system. Whether we need another strategy from Football Australia to work that out.
What about a Spanish curriculum this time?
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
or would that be the Australian way?
Because Spain won.
Spain won, so that's right. Spain curriculum, but with the Australian way.
That could work.
We should play with cork hats.
Well, it's just like
have a go, but also stay solid at the back.
Maybe in the 95th
Morrison.
minute of that Egypt game, Popovic should have held up an AFL style sign just with a Spanish flag to say, "Now play like Spain."
Yes,
and then we might have got through.
Yeah,
but I just think all these big tournaments are decided in moments, in these knockout matches,
in the details,
key group stages. You got to be prepared for them, but to focus on those single moments, you kind of you lose the bigger picture. So I'm not too critical about Popovic. Would have loved for him to. He's a bit of a sad boy when he comes to talking to the media. He doesn't. You don't often get him. Really.
Did you call him that?
So we got the star boy up front, the sad boy in the dugout.
That's right. Here he comes, old sad boy. Now, Tony. Just imagine.
Give us a smile, Tony. Come on.
God, Tony, give us a smile. It was 3 a.m. Sorry.
No. It's throughout the tournament. We would speak to the players every day. I think this is what Vince mentioned last week as well. Tony Popovic just puts himself up after the game, and he'll answer 10 minutes worth of questions from half the journos who choose to be there. Before the tournament, you could see his excitement about being there. The sparkle in his eyes, and he's definitely a personable character. Is someone in the media? I would love to see him talk more, explain decisions. Talk about it. Why he's not starting Aaron Kondo, or why did he then put him up front, and all these things. But there was a testy interaction, I think, after the Dallas game between Julian Linton from News Corp and Tony Popovic in the press conference, and Julian asked him, rightfully, I think, you made 6 changes. Can you just take us through them? What your thinking was for each one. And Tony's just like, no, I'm not doing that. That's not my job to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's if he thinks with blinkers on his job is to win football matches at the World Cup, that might be the right approach. For people in the media, and also maybe for people who look at the greatest footballing stories, and there is a bit of magic, or there's a little bit of follow me about leaders, secret recipes that make coaches fearless, worth following. And we see from the players a great love for Tony Popovic, and that deeply they respect him and they want him to see him around. But we never really get to see that from outsiders. And I feel like I would love to see Tony just open up a bit, because I do think as the first Socceroos player at a World Cup to coach at a World Cup, he has this great story, right? This is the absolute king of Australian football, and we're all treating him like just another guy that can be kicked off down the road and we get another new coach in. So I'd love to see maybe a little bit more from Tony Popovic.
You speak with a lot of sensitivity and awareness of being a person in the media and in the broader scheme of things. I just wanted to pick up on what you've just said there. Now, of course, people in the media are going to say, I wish Tony would explain all of his decisions so that we better understood them and we can tell a good story about it. Now, from Popovic's perspective, or any manager, I suppose you can also understand why he may feel like it may be naive to think, sure, I'll tell you every single decision and I'll trust you guys to report on it faithfully and to analyse it faithfully as well. I mean, I can see from his perspective why he'd think, I'm here to do a job and to get the absolute max out of this team as I can. And I don't think this press pack or the general discourse of football is going to be able to take my decisions and, report them and analyse them accurately and faithfully. Do you see it from his perspective as well? Or perhaps you could give examples of managers who may be more forthcoming, or even politicians in your time who are more forthcoming, who somehow get a better run and get better outcomes for their core job by being more open with the media.
The extraordinary scene of the Paraguay manager who would hold court to a room full of Paraguayan press. This is maybe 60 Paraguayan journalists. He would talk for 40, 50 minutes on issues, not just about, the selection and those things. He would talk about, the nature of the game and, the nature of humanity. And I'm not saying Tony Popovic needs to, take a leaf out of, the self-help genre or anything. But in not at least opening himself up a bit more, I think it shows a little bit of weakness. I think that defensive-ness shows that maybe, he's aware of that and he doesn't want to get bogged down in it. And look...
as in he cares too much, so he closes it off. He cares too much about other views. If he cared less about it, he could then proffer it and still do his thing.
Well, that he doesn't... The thing about Popovic, he'll... generally choose not to, so he might have done 10 or 12-minute press conferences after each game. But you look at, so you got the example of the Paraguay manager is different. Ange Postecoglou's also very different in that he will entertain it and he will start to kind of commodify and make that part of his shtick.
Yes.
For Australian football, for this peripheral sport, right? For a sport that is, fighting for any relevance in Australia. I think my rap story 2 days after the World Cup finish barely hit our threshold of interest because everyone had already moved on. At The Guardian, I'm talking about, our internal metrics. People have moved on from Socceroos so quickly. And so I kind of think, as a long-time lover of football, former player, I've followed it for a long time. I, went to the 2006 World Cup as a fan, was once the editor of the A-League magazine. Help me now. But,
Chuck, are you all right? Settle down.
He's like Rusty from South Park over there.
but I kind of feel like the role of Socceroos coach, it is win games at World Cups. And that's how you survive in the job.
Yeah, or build interest.
This is it. I reckon that there should be a really key part of that role that is selling the game, selling what's beautiful about it,
right.
Having the Socceroos as a way in for people to understand football, to understand, the World Cup final, to understand maybe the A-League more. It should be on that person to...
That's part of their KPIs?
Definitely.
Do you think? Yeah. So you may have lost, but you sold it well.
Obviously World Cup qualification, but just below maybe selling it well. Yeah. And Tony Popovic, I think he can be that.
Yes.
He's a very compelling thinker and very personable in speaking to him. But when he's in tournament mode, it just shuts down. And that was maybe a bit frustrating.
Let's talk landscape then. I mean, you covered the NRL's broadcast deal with Landys, and maybe we'll just use that as a bit of an anchor for what's possible for Australian football. I mean, to what end does a deal like that, with the implications of how much networks want to invest in other sports, for example, reflect upon the place of football in Australia even after a World Cup? And we have to ask everybody, but what needs to be done to increase, connection with hearts and minds of people and everything that springs forth from that?
You had Vince on last week.
Greg Inglis last week, by the way.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So he had
because we went straight back to league, but yeah.
You had Vince Rigari on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he is, he's Australia's best football writer, right? But he's also covering AFL, because he has to, because that's just the reality. I think it's difficult. We've just been in the States, right? They've got, a growing major league soccer competition. It's never going to be competing against the AFL.
No, of course. Especially not here.
Yeah.
I heard Waitley's editorial
NFL,
after World Cup final.
NBA, the big four in the States. Does that mean it's not right to pursue? No. There are always great stories in Australian football. Will the A-Leagues ever get a broadcast deal equivalent to the AFL NRL? No, because they don't have the world's best players playing here. And Australians, are recognising that. That deal is interesting, obviously for its scale and its the timing of it. We were kind of thinking the dollars, might be starting to go out of sports broadcasting due to declining advertising revenues of major free-to-air networks. I think they were lucky to get very well resourced owners, the new owners of Foxtel, DAZN, who just simply could not lose the NRL, one of the key properties for the broadcasting market here. So it's an unusual one. The thing with football, what you can take out of it, what you can, aim to make the most of when it comes to football. I think we saw with the Matildas in 2023, when there is a compelling contest in prime time with an Australian football team, it will combine the powers of the NRL states and the AFL states to become easily the most powerful sporting property. That set, decades-long records for TV viewers, that match against England 3 years ago. And if you had World Cups in friendly time zones, so if there was a World Cup, for example, ever that was going to be in China, Japan, that we sometimes talk about having them here, there is no question the Socceroos would exceed all broadcast viewer records in that tournament, because so much of it is time zone. You even look at the results from this tournament, right? The games that are on at 4 a.m., bloody half as well watched as the ones that are on at noon. And so it's just like quite bad luck, right? Nine and Stan have invested in the Champions League and the Premier League, and there's been really solid viewers there. And if those matches were in prime time, as a few of them kind of are, you would start seeing, huge awareness of football in Australia because, people could watch it at 5, 7, 9 p.m. at night and they could watch the best players in the world. And so I think those two things, time zone and the best players, that's the way to unlock it. Football in Australia, it's hard to do.
Yeah. It's amazing that SBS picked up these rights for $30 million for a start, but there's always the odd bit of chat around. Which was the World Cup that Australia were going to bid for? Was it the Saudi Arabia World Cup? So that's in 2030. No, wait, what are we in? 2034 is Saudi Arabia?
No, I think they were. Australia originally were trying to bid for the Qatar World Cup, but then there was some discussion that they might be in for maybe 2034, but then they pulled out of 2034.
Right, okay. And then in 2038, that World Cup has to either be in North America or Oceania. Is that right?
According to the FIFA rules, you say?
yeah. So Trump will be in power by then in 2038. Of course, FIFA have always tried to engage in the US. The USA qualification, even before 48 teams, has always been the simplest way to get into the World Cup. They need the USA in the World Cup to try and get those 320 million people engaged in this sport, right? And obviously the home of capitalism as well. So there's no doubt, to my mind anyway, that in 2038 it'll be back in America. But which is no bad thing really, because I think this is my favourite World Cup in my lifetime, I reckon. The first one I don't remember Italia 90, so the USA in 94 was the first one I remember as well. But is it in any way realistic that Australia could host a World Cup, given that the time zones here or in Japan do not work for the majority of where people live in the world?
Well, I think there's two things there. China will get a World Cup.
Okay.
At some point, just, particularly given India, China, Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, huge countries, big populations. So I think at some point, it'll happen there. And so it'll be roughly in Australia's time zone.
Okay.
Australia hosting it themselves. I've spoken to people within Football Australia and they are not interested at pursuing a bid to host the World Cup in Australia. They think that's too hard. We don't have the stadiums here. The situation with having to work with co-hosts is too complex. And so they are not even looking at that, even after 2030, as you say, 2038. I think before the tournament, Infantino said, we have to get a World Cup to East Asia, which is obviously, bang in Australia's wheelhouse. So that's something that they're kind of ruling out or not investing in. But they might look at something like, the Club World Cup might be too big an event to pursue. That was the one that was held in the States that Chelsea won last year. They might actually look at some of the new concepts that FIFA are looking at developing to reinvigorate the international football between tournaments. So you would have seen the Socceroos matches earlier this year were branded FIFA series matches. That's kind of a recognition that FIFA needs to do more to create meaningful games between big qualifiers and World Cups. And so, what that means, is it a little mini tournament with, reputable nations coming to Australia? I think that's probably something that Football Australia would be pursuing instead. I would love to see, having watched closely American football culture and the build up to that United States-Australia match in the second group match, the States and the Socceroos would be a great rivalry to develop, like the Soccer Bowl, the two countries where soccer is maybe, not the, be all and end all. They've got so much in common. And surely if, we're giving them how many $1 billion for AUKUS, they can just chuck us a friendly or two from time to time.
I find it extraordinary, and perhaps we need to unpack what hard means, but I find it extraordinary that Football Australia officials would regard the pursuit of hosting a World Cup as too hard, unless by hard they mean we don't have the right bribes in place or or whatnot. It's politically too difficult to organise or to be successful, because with all of this, this conversation in the room, nothing would move the dial more than simply hosting it here. That we wouldn't have a time zone problem then, or the world's best players. I'm a podcaster who doesn't talk to people at Football Australia, so I don't know the intricacies, and there would be intricacies. What might those intricacies be? We've had a crack before and missed out quite substantially. But if there's if the sentiment is that there should be one around here soon-ish, this is a country that, for all of our inferiority complex around football, we have hosted Olympics multiple times and have one coming up. We do know how to do an international event. I mean, do we need more ambition at Football Australia?
Yeah, there's a lot of intricacies we're probably not exposed to, but one that we are is the 46 million that the 2022 bid cost the taxpayer, which was
for one vote,
but just kept coming up, right? The amount of political damage that did, that failure, wasting taxpayer money on that bid. It's a risk to pursue a bid like this. They need money to prepare the bid book and all these, to fly executives around and do networking, right? You want to network with FIFA officials, even if it is justified, it is a little bit unseemly. And is this the arena you want to be playing in if you want to host the World Cup? I'm not sure. It's a very high risk move. Personally, I think though it does make sense. We've got Suncorp Stadium, we've got Allianz or Stadium Australia in Sydney. Amy Park could get an upgrade. These are international standard rectangular venues, and if we just desperately chased Japanese favour, South Korean favour, even Chinese favour, although it might be challenging from a non-footballing perspective, pursuing a bid alongside those kinds of nations, at least working as a willing partner, seems to be the most straightforward process. Whether that's realistic or not, I'm not in those meetings, and it would be not only expensive but far off, right? This is a years-long process, and as we've seen in Football Australia, there's a huge turnover of staff, and who knows if they can even keep their heads above water for the next couple of years, let alone work on a bid in 5 or 10 years.
Let's take a turn because you also cover athletics and you've been on the Gout beat and the Australian sprinting beat more broadly. There is no greater beat right now in Australia and no greater market for what you need to understand about sprinting is conversation, and you are perfectly positioned to educate people on what's actually going on in sprinting, because the every person around the barbecues in winter in Melbourne, will be saying, well, Gout's a great shot. The next level is to go, well, hang on, what about Lockie Kennedy? And that's before you even get into the college guy whose name I forgot.
Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah. And that's just in the men's, obviously.
Yeah.
Let us have it around what you need to understand is about the place of Australia, like where Australian sprinting is at the moment, because it's exciting times and we all want something to say.
It's a lot of pressure. My hopes were extraordinary with Gout, and I started to wonder, maybe we've.
And just quickly, we're just saying Gout, like that's what you say if you're a little bit more on the inside. Just say it once.
What about
no,
Gigi?
Mr. G?
Mr. G.
That record that Gout ran that I was there for in Sydney a few months ago was one of the most extraordinary days I've had as a sport reporter. There were 2,000 people there. It's a crying shame that there's not more excitement to go to athletics, and maybe not enough marketing and those things. So to have him achieve that record, I believe it was fastest under 200 Although you might have a bit of boys actually, if anyone wants to clarify that.
See, so you're there reporting with all of the resources you've got, and you're still afraid of boys actually. 1967.
Yeah, that was the
right?
time. But then there's
and ratified or not.
Well, I think there's another time that wasn't ratified. Anyway, you can go into a bit of a rabbit hole. But that was extraordinary.
You're running from A to B. We got rabbit holes everywhere.
I'm glad that he did that, because I think for everyone it was like, oh, this is vindication. All our expectation was justified. And at that stage, like, you never know what might happen the rest of his career. And then 2 months later, he's bloody done his, hamstring or back or something, and he's no longer racing in World Juniors this year. So, yeah, this was going to be his target event, I think early next month, and he's had to pull out. And so, it's one of these things where it's so fraught. You know, it's like the Socceroos. We think, oh, this young, never do, what's the phrase?
Ne'er-do-well?
Ne'er-do-well.
He's a ne'er-do-well.
Ne'er-do-well. Unlikely bunch of lads doing their best on the world stage. How good are they going to be in 2030 or 2034?
Yes.
You just cannot take anything for granted. And this is with Gout. How much faster is he going to get? We don't know. We just got to hope.
Tantalising prospect. Just to ask that question.
It's even,
how much? 1967. How much faster can he go? Oh, talk to me.
Well, what like 0.2 of a second faster? I don't know.
Now we're talking. What is a string? We know with just use a cricket example. You want your speedster bowlers to do their backs at a certain time because they need to go through. That's actually the stressies and everything is the badge of honour to come out the other side, hardened thicker through the trunk, etc., to bowl longer spells, etc. Now, hamstrings are important to a sprinter. That's something I can tell everybody. Hot off the press, actually. How common is a string injury to like a young sprinter? Is it something you expect them to go through as I presume their programs are so finely tuned, to get those levers right?
But it's a huge concern, right? And this is why I'm talking in these terms. And so maybe...
So you're talking in terms of like he may never be the same again.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
We've got huge expectation for him, and he's going to have his issues that he's going to have to manage. Will he be faster than Usain Bolt at his peak?
Well, that's the bar. That's the bar as we see for Australia. You know what? I think you've actually asked the question that is the key question. Yeah. We've got the fastest sprinter ever, don't we?
Yeah. Look, it might be quite hard to reach that height.
Yes.
We've got a long time though. I think there'll be ups and downs for Gout's career. We just got to hope one of the ups coincides with 2032, because potentially he could be.
So he's still your guy. Like you're not a Lockie Kennedy, Eddie Nketiah guy? Respect the workmanship and the craft of it, but of course.
Lockie Kennedy's incredible. He's going to have to work really hard. He's a very consistent 10-second runner now. To get down to 9.8 in the 100 for him is going to be really hard. Right. And that's what we got to look at. Eddie Nketiah,
ceilings.
Yeah, Eddie Nketiah seems to have unlocked something in college in the States in recent year or so. He's there or thereabouts. The thing about Australian sprinting, though, those individuals, be great if they could get to a major final, right? Unlikely they're going to win medals, maybe with the exception of Gout. But in the relays,
the relays
is where it's at.
Who's our fourth? Louise Savage?
No, fourth. We've got heaps of good 4x1 runners. Yeah, we've got Rowan Browning. He runs the anchor leg. We've got like...
We always need a little bit of Sydney Uni college stuff as well, you know what I mean? Someone who's got a law... At least he's got a law degree behind him or something. You know what I mean?
To sort of fall back on.
He's got great tricks at parties.
Caleb Law, he's fast. Josh Azzopardi, like all these 4x1 runners, very good. And Australian Athletics has invested a lot in the relays program. We've never really had an appreciation of the relays in Australia. It's the team sport, right? And it's
baton.
That's a chat where there'd be a few viewpoints around the barbecue too, without knowing anything about it. Mate, you just got to get the
exactly. You just got to get the baton.
You totally admit out before.
And practice it with the tongs.
Yeah, that's right. We did it at athletics carnivals.
Yeah, you watch the World Relays Championship, which is this new event that World Athletics has set up in the last few years, and there is a great passion and love for it within other countries, but Australia hasn't clocked it yet. But you watch, I've been to Olympics, World Athletics Championships. The relays final is often the kind of culmination or the big focus. And for Australia to be competitive, and we're not just talking about competitive for a final here, we're talking about medal competitors. That is the one we got to look at as potentially the one event in 2032 and maybe in LA in 2028 that they could do something especially good. And also on Gout, he hasn't even started running the 100 relays yet. So, and he gets a little bit more of a run up in the relay too. So
yeah, of course.
He could be the fastest we've ever seen.
Yeah. Because he's a 200 runner primarily, right?
Yeah.
He prefers the 2.
He's actually more of a 2.
But he could also maybe run the 4x4, which
really,
which
No, I didn't know that.
we're even better in the 4x4 in the men's than we are in the 4x1s. So
that's gold guaranteed.
It looks like gold guaranteed. Yeah. So yeah, I'm all on the relays, and hopefully those fellas can keep dropping their times, but. Staying away from injury, that's the most important.
How many
thing.
countries would have 4 guys running sub 10?
Not many.
Like 25? yeah. Can we make a semi in the 4x1 is what I'm asking, Yeah. Would there be 5 countries, do you reckon? Great Britain always pretty good. USA, Jamaica, typically.
I think we got a laptop out here. We could probably find out. Yeah,
it's going to be boys actually stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
It's probably several. Several. You just kind of need, 10-second-ish runners. Like what's the difference between 300ths of a second, under 10 or not? And Australia's, roughly in that mix. So, one baton drop by the States, where maybe it is gold.
I'm locking in for gold for 28, 32 and 36.
Has Australia had an athlete carrying more of our chips on their shoulders than Gout?
Yeah, so Kathy Freeman had it right.
True.
And then we
since Kathy.
And then we chased who was the French runner again?
Who cares?
Marie-José Perret.
Thank you.
Yes, well done.
Yeah. And the media chased her out of town. So we need more of that stuff.
Yeah. We'll spend 30 minutes talking about Argentinians' tactics. But back here domestically, we're fine. All above board on that stuff.
Yeah, I like Bruce's call in her 400-meter final where it was like relief.
Huge
relief.
call.
Yeah. It's relief.
Massive revelation.
When Kathy won. So I'll be relieved when Gout wins the 100, 200.
We want track gold though. I mean, do we dare to dream? We want track success. So we know how to get it done in the drink.
Yeah.
But can we at the athletics carnival of the Olympics? Can we get some house points?
Well. We're already there. Jess Hull's, multiple major medal winner, and Cam Myers is widely seen as the best 1500 meter prospect in world athletics. He's just set the national record. He's going to run the mile in the Commonwealth Games, and if we actually, could understand something about athletics that was more than the 100 meters.
Where's this come?
I'll work on it.
There's Tori Lewis as well, who's a gun. Like, so where's this come from? Australia's now all
what
of a
about
sudden.
Kratz?
Yeah. What about Kratz
Starks, brother.
over the fence? Yeah,
Kratzy.
Brandon. From Game of Thrones. Like where's this come from that Australia's all of a sudden just got a factory of elite athletes?
Yeah,
are we juicing?
Well, I think we're.
No, it's just our spirit.
Yeah, it's Aussie spirit. Yeah,
I think there's probably a lot of camaraderie coming through with this generation, but but also, this is a group of athletes that all have different stories, right? You got your Rowan Browning, the best of Australian private school education, getting him to the finish line. But maybe more diverse populations also getting involved in athletics. And I think it's really positive for the sport. But, when you see 3,000 people watching Gout's greatest race, I think, there's not a lot, if we're talking about finding the formula for the athletic success, I think there's a lot of work to be done in athletics to make up for those, huge peaks at Olympic Games, etc. We'll see whether we get excited about the Commonwealth Games in the next couple of weeks and whether or not, the Australian athletes can match it with, pretty good other Commonwealth nation athletes, but also just win us over, right? Show their personality, get on our radars in the lead up to LA and Brisbane 2032.
It's hard to get on the radar when you got Flagmantle doing what they're doing, and Kent's, coach at Tassie Devils, and you know what I mean.
Well, I was in the States, head down at the World Cup for 5 or 6 weeks. Coming back, expecting the West Tigers, to be comfortably in the top 8 and
ensconced,
and Laurie Daly still recognised as a terrible coach. I've come back,
great player, a great player. I think is what they've been saying.
Yeah.
He's a great player,
What a player, and a nice guy.
No, but he's now recognised widely as a state of origin mastermind, and all it takes is one game.
All it takes is one game. Thanks for the long form chat, Jack, it's been good to go in deep on some of these things. And I guess the message out of this is that Socceroos should have done better. We should host a World Cup, gout for gold. I think that's pretty much
4x4, 4x1, 1-2 gold.
Yeah.
It's been great to be here, and gold for gout in Brisbane.
Thank you very much to Jack Snape. Pezzo, what do we got now?
Yeah, boys, actually. Let's just work our way through this methodically, and very conscious of is a longer podcast, but as we've said for 6 to 10 years, sorry for the value. Now, Pep Guardiola's version of Chernobyl by Lyndon's Johnson. Boys, I write to you as a young Englishman seeking post-university enlightenment in South America. The grievance I wish to raise regards Mr. Higgins's failed attempt to chime into the conversation regarding making an effort in the pronunciation of foreign names / places / things and therein sounding, quote, wanky. The example Ian used made me so upset that I wanted to put my well-being at risk and trudge through the Colombian jungle at night before going on a 2-day cocaine-fueled bender, which was sold to me by a man who refers to himself only as the Wizard. Disappointingly, he does not dress like Albus Dumbledore, nor is the rubble leading up to the chair as he sits in painted yellow. So I did just that and have now returned to reality, ready to write to you about something you don't care about. To briefly lay out my credentials before piling into, he goes, I have recently graduated from a top UK uni with a joint honours degree which included Spanish and Catalan. So I think I have some authority in the following matter.
He's got a lot of people offside though.
Mr. Higgins seemed to suggest that in order to correctly pronounce the name of fine city of Barcelona, one must swap out the C for a TH sound.
Right.
Oh, dearie me, Ian. What a colossal blunder. Nobody does it better than these cunts. Now, in fairness to Mr. Higgins, his suggestion is often wrongly proposed by nonces who have been on one trip to Marbella, a trip in which said nonces likely shouted gracias at any local who'd listen. And I say it like this. The reason for this repeated error is that in Castilian Spanish, Castilian, there would indeed be a TH sound wherever a C or Z are used. Gracias.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. That's a gay waiter with a lisp.
Barcelona, however, lies within the Catalunya region of north/eastern Spain, a region which many locals would like to see as independent and would be if a 2017 referendum wasn't declared illegal by the Madrid government. In this region, the co-official and predominant first language is Catalan, a language in which C's and Z's do not receive the same treatment as in Castilian Spanish, and they are instead pronounced broadly similarly to in English. Thus, Ian, if you would wish to pronounce Barcelona correctly, or to be specific as a local would, I would avoid a TH sound at all costs. I am aware that through calling out Higos' mistake, I have likely sounded even wankier than those who pronounce it as Barcelona, but this is my want and I am at peace with this. You certainly sound at peace with it. Yours in linguistic snobbery, Lyndon's Johnson, and just underneath where it says sent on the run by my iPhone or whatever, he's written enviado desde mi iPhone.
He doesn't tell us how to say it.
He does. He says you just don't have to say the sound. You can say it more
sorry.
like English.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Checked out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as he said top UK university, that was pretty much when I checked out.
So
you just say Barcelona.
Yeah. From that, if you're talking about, like, if you want to say it as a local would in that region, but there are other regions where you get the TH going with your gracias, but not the...
When's the next racy dog?
So...
But I knew that in certain regions,
Yeah, I wasn't saying it from the local region. I was
How fucking dumb is this guy?
Yeah, I was saying in the Castilian.
Yeah, fucking idiot.
Okay, next one is entitled "Leave It to the Daily Mail." Here goes from one of the 4%, possibly now your celeb gossip correspondent.
Okay.
Boys, as one of the proud 4% of your female listeners, brackets there are dozens of us, well, maybe 3, I feel it's my civic duty to write in. I was absolutely floored to hear the breaking news on the podcast that Beck and Leighton Hewitt had split up. My jaw hit the floor. I immediately thought, surely not. Then, because unlike you blokes, I apparently fact-check things occasionally, I looked it up. Turns out they're very much still married. Now, I understand accuracy isn't exactly what we're tuning in for. If I wanted hard-hitting journalism, I'd read the Daily Mail or New Idea, not listen to a couple of blokes who can spend 20 minutes discussing the ideal length of a change room shower or a cock. But I did think someone should let you know before the rumour made it any further than your microphones. As one of the approximately 3 women still hanging in there, I felt it was my responsibility to intervene. Now just let this finish first before you start looking up yourself.
Yeah.
Or are you just texting now?
I'm just asking Leighton.
Right. Think of this as quality control. For what it's worth, I didn't start listening because I was chasing insightful relationship commentary from you lot. Leave me out of it. I came for the cricket. Then I accidentally became invested in the banter. Somewhere along the line, I found myself listening to in-depth analyses on things I never imagined would consume grown men, and somehow recurring segments about cocks that have absolutely nothing to do with poultry. And yet, here I am. So please keep the cricket chat coming, keep the piss taking, keep the banter, maybe just leave the celebrity relationship scoops to literally anyone else. Thanks for giving the female demographic something to contribute this week. Kind regards, one of the 4%, possibly now your celeb gossip correspondent. Your response. So, yes, the allegation is that you said that Beck and Leighton Hewitt are no longer together, and what this claims is that they're still very much married.
They're very much married, yeah.
Yeah, so your response.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Now, Chuck, we got the audio from last week, just in terms of what he said.
I
learned recently that Leighton Hewitt and Beck Hewitt, formerly Beck Cartwright, no
yes.
longer together.
Oh, that's sad.
That is sad.
Nah, okay.
They were a golden couple in Australian celebrity sporting. Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll wait and see. Is that what you said? Or do you just accept?
No, we'll wait and see if they last.
That's not really. It's not where they last. It's whether they are together now or not.
Yeah. So I am so sorry. I have got that wrong.
We need a sound effect for that.
So, what I obviously read was that they have sold a house because Leighton Hewitt is spending his time overseas coaching. What did I just read?
Tennis.
Coaching tennis. Coaching his son Cruz.
Life coaching.
And Beck is staying in Sydney to raise the daughters. Now, I've in my head deduced from that they have split up.
Now, to be fair, the headline I think you would have read says why Beck and Leighton Hewitt are splitting for the kids.
Right.
So I can see how.
But I've then said on a show and I've broadcast to dozens of people.
You've been clickbaited by a Woman's Day article.
Well, leave women out of it. That's sexist.
That's the name of the.
We just call it day here.
So, in terms of understanding what's happened here, you've as someone experienced in the media, you've read a headline and gone, they're divorced or they're split.
They've split.
Yep.
That's what's happened.
And you could say, well, and I'm using the language of the copy that I was given. So you've been misled.
And no longer together, just like in the same room is what I meant.
You're having that, Charlie, as well? Just like, well, I've been misled by a deplorable publication.
Yeah, he's been clickbaited by Women's Day, which haven't we all?
No, that's actually worthy of an apology. You can't be going on shows saying like they're not together.
Oh, you can. You can do it.
I did.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Play on.
I remember once saying that Brendan Drew, a former grade cricket teammate of mine, had played for Australia, and he texted me through the week, said, "You've given me a game for Australia. That's not bad." Now, he didn't.
Yeah, but that's better than being divorced.
He didn't write into Boys Actually and correct me. He was very happy to leave that. So you give me a game.
Who was the person who wrote in?
Well, a woman.
Yeah.
No, because there's no name. It's it was signed off as one of the 4%, possibly now your celeb gossip correspondent.
Okay, well, I appreciate one of the 4% writing in.
All right, let's get the screen back here, Chucky. Not for this one, though. It's from Jake, and it's entitled Therapy Wearies. Boys, as the only Essendon fan who has called in on multiple occasions, I felt that it was about time that I wrote in. As the subject states, therapy is long overdue for anyone donning the sash. 26 years since our last flag isn't that long considering other teams currently have it worse, e.g. St Kilda and Carlton. And other teams are yet to lift the cup, GWS, Gold Coast, Fremantle, and I'm still holding out for University to make a comeback. The first game of AFL I watched was the 2000 grand final, and as any wise 6-year-old would do, I picked a team and stuck with them for life. I was also helped by the fact that my late mum had been a Dons fan since the late 70s, more on this later. Since 2000, I've watched us lose a granny and then lose nearly every final since then. Don't get me started on that fucking Days Since Twitter page. I watched us go through the ringer during the peptide scandal, which gave us our first spoon in decades, and now we are a few weeks away from acquiring a second spoon in my 32 years on this planet. I took my 3-year-old son to his first AFL game in May. He wanted to do everything and anything except wear his Bombers jersey, which I can understand, as my mum passed away in October last year and can't do the usual grandmothering duties of purchasing everything in red and black. Plus, now that I'm a father of 2, do I, A, infect my children with the same Essendon depression that has plagued me, B, let them pick their own team, C, allow my wife, who has no AFL affiliation, to guide them to a team, D, do literally anything else. Yours in eternal pain, Jake. P.S. No James Hird, can't fix this. P.P.S. This was written before the GWS game. Lids off, tickets booked for September 27.
I think it's important to share your pain with your family. Sporting pain. I think it's if you're a Bombers fan, for instance, and then your kid doesn't want to lose every week, and so they start going for, let's say, the Cats. Like, fuck that. They're in it with you. They've been born into the pain, the trauma, the disaster that is your specific football club, whatever code that is. In this instance, Essendon. They don't have a choice of. You can't just be picking a good team unless you have no affiliation to the country. Like, for instance, football with us. Like, if you're on a Premier League team, you can just pick the best team, go for your life. But in a local competition in your country, you can't be just picking the Melbourne Storm if you live in Perth.
I completely agree, and I want to build on from a parental perspective, tactics therein to indoctrinate the child, because everyone's in a different situation, right? Like, not only do you have the team in question being where they are on the ladder or where they are historically, you might have a team of tradition and history and prestige who's done 3/5 of fuck all for a while, and to the kid they are a symbol of losing. Right?
Yep.
Or you might have another team that the competition pumps heaps of money into to make sure they stay good for TV markets. Now, that's a swan situation.
Sure.
So every parent's got a different situation that they've got to deal with. But as a father, combining hobbies and parenting is a very efficient practice, right? Get the kids involved in things you like, and you actually return time to yourself, and it becomes bonding. Right, and it's a beautiful thing to bond over. Don't get me wrong. You got to walk the tightrope between the bonding and I'll withhold my love unless you do the things that I like to do. That's a different situation, just with multiple kids, right? So it's a tough one, but it's difficult. I can't give too much detail away here, but I know a former AFL player whose son supports another team. Because the son's mother, the partner of said AFL player, current partner, I don't know if they're married or not, is a rabid fan of another team, and it's very. Does that make sense? Basically,
he was a one clubsman.
He was, yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but it's a well known name at the club.
And
you sort of, and it's a great conversation because mate, you can bring him into the sheds. You can go sheds. So you've got access to places but mum loves X team. And there's other complications there as well. Nothing familiarly, or kind of, but it's funny.
It's great I mean,
so you know what I mean? Like I'm like, this guy's played a lot of games for this club, and he's struggling to get his boy over the line.
That is remarkable.
But that they can change. It can change. You know, sometimes kids just click into something. You know, and they go, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Like my mum tried to make me a Balmain Tigers fan for years and years and years, and then I got to like 5 or 6 more conscious, and I'm like, oh, my dad and his brothers are cooler, and the Tigers suck, so I'll go for the Bears. Great decision. They're out of the comp 7 years later. I'm still proud.
Is it better to be out of the comp or be a Tigers fan? That's a fair question.
A merged Tigers fan, or a Perth Bears fan. Anyway, it's. I think you've got to get your son into it, and also like swings and roundabouts. It changes. You go through the ups and the downs.
I think the most important thing though is that like if you have a kid, and you like doing something, get that kid involved in that, so you get to keep doing that thing.
Yeah. You combine. Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust me. They like when they get to the certain ages, like that's time out of the day stuff as well. We're watching this together. You say like, this is time we're spending together. Right, and there's a lot of allegories in sport that you're teaching them about.
Yes.
Okay, Napoleon Blown Apart writes in, French Open 26, the best Grand Slam.
Ugh, okay.
Hi, it's me again, Napoleon Blown Apart. In last week's pod around 1:35, Monsieur Higgins mentioned whether Alcaraz, Sinner and Djokovic are so far ahead of others on the tennis tour that Alex de Minaur schedules his wedding on the day of the Wimbledon finals because he thinks he has no chance of winning Wimbledon. Alcaraz and Sinner combined have won all the Grand Slams from 2024 Australian Open to 26 Australian Open. This streak was broken at the 26 French Open, obviously the best slam, it's in France, which was won by Alexander Zverev. He beat Flavio Cobolli in the finals in 5 sets. Alcaraz did not play the French Open this year due to a wrist injury, and Sinner was knocked out in the second round in a shocking upset. Alcaraz is still out due to the wrist injury, but Sinner obviously bounced back to win Wimbledon. So if you don't schedule your wedding on a Grand Slam finals day, you can hope to win a slam every 2.5 years if your name is not Alcaraz or Sinner. Love the pod, Napoleon Blown Apart. I wouldn't say it's a boys actually.
No, that is good intel.
And nor is the therapy one, to be honest.
So 3 guys have won, how many? That's going to be 12 majors.
Yeah, and the one Zverev wins is like there's asterisks because one of them's out.
Yeah.
So it's getting a bit...
that year when Federer won the French to complete his Grand Slam was the year that...
Not really.
Me neither, but it's in the back of my head. It was the year that Nadal was injured, or he had a period of time out of the sport.
Sometimes you need luck to do things.
Yeah, and so that was Federer's one chance because Nadal just goed on clay, obviously. Like literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. You get one shot at it, really. You get one shot and he does it. And that makes you think about the conspiracies.
Of course, and the money therein.
Yeah.
Napoleon Blown Apart's in again. Did you miss my beloved? Hi, I am Napoleon Blown Apart. Boys, actually, in last week's episode around 19 minutes 40 seconds, Monsieur Higgins mentioned... quote, 7 countries have won the World Cup. Monsieur Chuck, instead of correcting Monsieur Higgins, said giving his stamp of approval. We all know that Higgins cannot be incorrect. Therefore, I am sorry, Chuck, but you were wrong in giving Higgins your stamp of approval. 8 countries have won the Football World Cup. Brazil, Germany, Italy, Argentina, Spain, Uruguay, England, and my beloved France. Please fix this mistake. I'm sure it was unintentional, but when you speak to the masses, accuracy is key. I would know that. Regards, Napoleon Blown Apart.
Yeah, so obviously when I said that, I said, well, it's definitely 7. I didn't just say, was it about 7?
Chuck?
Also Norway joining the how many teams have won it? Like 7 teams have won the World Cup or whatever?
Yeah.
Or whatever. That's doing some lifting for you.
Yeah, so as I said.
I feel like 7 gets you probably one country each way. Over under.
Yeah, or whatever is also the implication that it may not be precise in its accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? This is...
Well, you're accepting or rejecting?
I'm rejecting it entirely. Yeah. Completely fine with being wrong.
You've had 2 cracks as well, Napoleon Blown Apart. That'll do you for a little while. Okay. This one's called Not Good Enough by Nick Rewalt in a schoolgirl dress. Boys, on last week's pod at the timestamp of 1:23:39, Higgins referred to a Gold Coast player by the name of Jamal Ugle Hayden. Despite some extremely thorough searching, I could not find any player listed by that name, either for Gold Coast or any other club in the AFL. I can only presume that Mr. Higgins has inadvertently bastardised the name of one Jamara Ugle-Hagan. While typically I wouldn't bother with the nonsense of dissecting the minutiae of slight pronunciation mistakes, fucking up a bloke's first and last name is in the same there's a missed word there, is a level of buffoonery that I feel deserves retribution. Love the pod and hope you guys enjoy reading the other 15 emails correcting the same mistake. Regards, Nick Rewalt in a school dress. He follows up. He says, in a new email, I've just realised that I've ironically fucked up and not included the word sentence in my email about criticising the manner of one's speech. Feel free to call me idiotic cuck. All you want. That is the reason half of us write in anyway. Yours in grammar Nazi noncery, Nick Rewalt in a school dress. And I just want to note that he sent that follow-up email from a different email address that contained his real name that I won't be. The first email came from, it actually arrived as Nick Rewalt in a school dress. He may well have just swapped it back or whatever.
That's good. I like it. It's tying people in such knots that they're like, "Fuck, I've got to get this right."
Oh, they're riddled with errors. The boy's actually riddled with grammar errors and all sorts of administrative errors. Bill writes in, and it's just the title is Jamal Ugle Hayden, and it says Gerald Wheatley would never. And just finally, Steve Buscemi says Lamine Jamal Ugle Hagen. See, that's wrong because he's given you Hagen there, and you said Hayden. Or we'll see. Yes. We'll see, actually. Yeah. Fellow pigs and disgraceful freeloaders at 123.24. That's different to what was said above. That's 39. Ian Higgins refers to Gold Coast Suns player Jamal Ugle-Hagan. I can only assume that Messrs. Higgins has spent much of the last 2 months watching the Spanish men's football team, leading to an amalgamation of Yamal and Jamara. Whilst he must be held accountable, I think we can all understand and forgive this error. Sent from my Oxford University email account to protect my piggy identity and give false credibility to my submission. Oink, oink, Steve Buscemi. Shall we take a listen?
Now, let's talk AFL.
Oh, we're doing it anyway. Yeah, okay, yep.
Now, Jamal Ugle-Hagan and Mac.
Doss.
Yeah, it's Matthew Hayden's son. Yeah, no, fair enough. No, that is fair enough.
Yeah, I feel we pushed it a bit far there. All right, Kia writes in, read David Bentley. Dear Peasant, he goes, in regards to the boys' actually discussion about David Bentley and other Davids, Nugent and Kitchen were birth strikers. You mean to say both strikers? A mistake. Or birth strikers. Maybe that's a position. I don't know. Boys actually me on what a birth striker is.
Could be a Bath striker.
Maybe played some academy football at Bath, the famous rugby union stronghold.
At Bath Uni, yes.
We're just tidy. Yeah. Other Davids, Nugent and Kitson were both strikers and not at all similar players to Bentley, a tricky winger / attacking midfielder type. The player you may have been thinking of was similar to Bentley, who did play for Liverpool, is Jermaine Pennant. As both Pennant and Bentley were at Arsenal at the start of their careers. Yours in Barclays chat, Keir. Fuck off, Keir. You're completely wrong, you dumb cunt.
See,
sorry.
You haven't. I was enjoying that one. Then he said, I'm thinking of Jermaine Pennant.
Yeah, the player you may be thinking of is Jermaine Pennant.
I thought they were brothers.
Yeah, we never really solved that one, did we? There was a David, but I reckon it was Ngo. I reckon Ngo's what's in my head.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
One of those, like that was an era where Liverpool were
shit.
Yeah, but and they were like signing some real mid Premier League players that had a bit of hype from the team they came from.
Mate, the number one for me, possibly that I've said impulsively there, but was Charlie Adam.
Interesting.
Who played for Blackpool. They got relegated that year, and then they picked him, and he was just
just not at the level.
Just not at the level, yeah. He doesn't need to be the worst player of all time. He just wasn't the level.
He was a bit mercurial, Charlie Adam, though, wasn't he? Like, didn't he score a lot, like the long-range goal?
He had this thing, where he used to shoot from halfway. He did it fucking all the time. And by that, I mean probably 6 times.
There was a striker that was like that, broad-shouldered Anglo striker.
Voronin?
No, he's English.
Are you talking
from Liverpool around that a similar-ish time? We're doing this live. Came from a obviously lower club. It was broad-shouldered. It was this.
Not Ricky Lambert?
Yes, Lambert.
From Southampton,
It's a Ricky Lambert era. And then we're getting into Torres, Suarez, etc. And you like Ricky Lambert.
Yeah. The
angle never helps that situation, I have to say.
That's right. He was a Liverpool fan. So that we had some there was a thing of boyhood club stuff.
But I mean, am I misguided on his returns for Liverpool, as you would say?
I don't remember how many goals he scored for Liverpool.
Yeah.
But it was less. But I remember him not scoring a goal for Liverpool for months.
He didn't move the dial for them as a team. Like, I'm not being
He
unkind on his returns.
I can't remember when he came. Was that after Torres before Suarez or after Suarez? I can't remember.
You might be saving me there as well.
I can't remember.
Really? So Ricky Lambert could have been after Torres.
He was definitely after Torres.
Okay.
Definitely
all right. Well, I got my timelines wrong there.
I just can't remember if he was after Suarez. No, that's too recently. Okay, I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay. Well, hands up if he's there after Torres. I sort of, in my mind, there was a lot of mediocrity, and they started fixing things from your Torres into your Suarez, etc. But maybe I'm giving them a few years that they
I
don't
think he was
deserve.
after Suarez actually because he played with Gerrard.
Well, Gerrard played for a long time.
Sorry, but Suarez wasn't there.
Okay. Yep.
Suarez came, I think, after Andy. No, he was there with Andy Carroll. Anyway, getting confused now.
Okay.
Getting confused. Someone will let me know.
Just the final one is from Zach. It's called The Right Kind of Favelas. Boys, not a boys actually, but on the back of the bloke talking favelas last week to improve Australia's standing in world football, I think it is important to note that the Brazilian national football setup is going through its own crisis at the moment. The steady increase in Pentecostal Christianity in Brazil has led to a siloing of Brazilian communities, less football being played in the street and that. As a result, the players coming through aren't as good, and even those who do make the top level don't have the right mentality. Pro footballers like Endrick, who are raised within this cult-like upbringing, are not open to improving via sports psychology when they miss a sitter or get the yips because, quote, God will sort me out. So my point is that I like the idea of favelas, but it's got to be the right kind of favelas, and none of this Scott Morrison happy clapper nonsense infecting the purity of Yoga Benito. Yours in the beautiful game, Zach. Interesting. How Sky Daddy hurts the spirit of Brazilian football.
Yeah, but at the same time, when he rewards them, when he smiles down.
I don't know, I mean, there's been plenty of great Brazilians who look up to the great man, don't they? Like, I want to say Kaká, etc. We'll send a message.
I wonder how many.
The right kind of God relationship.
In my head, Brazil, very spiritual country.
In your head, yeah.
In my head.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I mean, they got looking down on them.
Yeah.
JC's looking down on them.
Yeah.
But it's still, right, like there are plenty of sects of Christianity that start to get involved with a few different ideas about how we're doing things.
Who did what?
Well, I feel like when you're like a real fundamentalist Christian, it's very much like, it's quite lazy in a way because you're just accepting 100% of the thing. You know, it's like it's easier to commit to 100% of a project than 99. You know what I mean? So you're all in on it, as it were. For me, JC, great stories, and I love it. But I do agree with Ricky Gervais that the books wouldn't come back if they were burnt. That's just me. That's my treatise on religion, Christianity. Very happy with what Jesus was saying and doing. Huge influence.
A lot of people burnt books. See you next week.